So starting with 12.1.2 model real-time, in this sprint we have improved the property page so that we now show a visual indicator if there is a modified property in the C++ general and C++ TargetRTS tabs. So if you know, as you know, these property tabs contain quite many properties, and they are usually influencing on what the generated code will look like and behave. So in that sense, they are a bit more important than other property pages, and because of that, we have now implemented that we show with a greater than sign if there is at least one modified property in these tabs. So that makes it easier at a quick glance to see what elements you have made modifications for and what you haven't. Then I know some of you are using BIRT. This is the reporting solution for Eclipse that works with model real-time. This integration has now been uplifted to work with the BIRT that comes with Eclipse 2024-06. That means you can use it with 12.1 of model real-time. And just like previously, we have decided to publish this as a separate update site, so we don't bundle it with the usual installation. So if you want to get it, you go to the info center and download it from there. We have also improved the TargetRTS, introduced a new concept called log streams. So for a long time, the traditional way of logging has been to use log ports. They had certain limitations. Maybe the biggest one was that it could only work in the context where ports can be used, that is in capsule code. But with these log streams, you can now use logging from anywhere. So you use a log : out and log : error. So it's actually very similar to how you log using the standard output and error streams in C++. And the implementation is also based on standard C++ OStream, which means that you can also use any existing C++ stream manipulator when you're logging, for example, to do formatting. And we also added a feature to these streams that make it easy to lock and unlock log streams when you're doing logging in multi-thread applications, so that you don't interleave your log messages in a bad way. So macOS has been on our agenda for a long time, and now we have come to a point where we think we can declare official support for macOS on x86. We also have spent lots of time testing macOS on ARM. There we have found some problems and fixed them, but we still think more testing is required on that platform before we can declare it as non-experimental. But all found problems have been fixed, I should say. And then we are working on providing integration support with code real-time, and one important area is the ability to take files that you have created in code real-time and use them in model real-time. And that feature was presented in last sprint demo, and it has now been improved. So for example, we have changed how we do this conversion, so now it happens on all model loading. Previously it was more tied to the user interface. We have also included a script that actually you will see it in the demo, and it will be published during next sprint publicly. And this script uses the support for art files to automatically import all test cases that we have published for code real-time. So there are almost 200 test samples that it uses, and that can actually be also used by customers that have their own custom version of the TargetRTS as a way to do regression testing. So when a new version of model real-time comes, you can use this test suite for making sure that your changes are still working or don't break anything. And we did some other improvements also. And I should also say that this feature now has replaced the support for texture state machines, which we had as an experimental feature before, because obviously the art file support is a superset of the texture state machines that we had before. We're also working on the art exporter. You saw the first version in last sprint, and we have shipped a couple of new versions since then. So the latest version is now 1.02, and it will appear on the info center. Actually, it is not there yet, but it will come there very soon, like tomorrow or something. And in that version, there is improved support for more data types like interfaces, type aliases, etc. We also implemented support for dependencies and more kinds of code snippets, and also many bug fixes. But this is still work in progress. So there is still a long way to go until we can export everything from Model RealTime. So to summarize what we deliver after this sprint, we have Model RealTime 12.1.2 that is to be used with Eclipse 2024-06. We have ARP Exporter 1.02, which is delivered as a separate plugin on the utilities page on the Info Center. Code RealTime 2.06, which works with all IDEs that supports the VS Code APIs. That's VS Code itself, of course, Eclipse Thea, VS Codium, Cursor, and a few others. And also something that is new and that we will show in the demo is something we call DevOps Automation. So that is a new platform and product where Code RealTime is part of. And it is basically a way to run Code RealTime from a web browser in a dev container without having to install anything locally. If you're still using an old version of Model RealTime that is older than 12.03, you should be aware that it goes out of support in June, end of June this year. So we recommend that you uplift to something newer before that. So the experimental features that we have now is basically only running Mac OS on ARM. So we know that some of you are already doing it. It works fine, but since we haven't done full UI testing for this platform yet, we are still considering it experimental. So and we should also mention that we have noticed some problems in CDT on Mac OS on ARM, which is not related to Model RealTime, but that could also be worth noticing or taking into account if you're using this platform. So any questions before we move on to the demos?